Hi everybody, and welcome back to Scott Shaves. I know it's been a while and I haven't been the most active at doing content, and I do apologize for that, alright? I do think that it looks like so far the Safety Razor Cleaning 101 has been a hit. It seems to be a reference that a lot of people are looking at and using. And, today, what do I got with you? What do I plan to do as far as a shave tonight? Well, these maybe look familiar. Maybe they look a little bit shinier. As you can see, I cleaned these boys and girls up. Here's the rope part. Went and just gave these a good cleaning today. They're nice and shiny now. Alright. That's the Pro Back. Here's the original Damaskine Gem Open Comb. Look how shiny that is. Yeah, gave these all a good cleaning today. So, and then I have the DeHaven number 2. So, I am stuck. Do I use the slant? I have wanted to use this slant ever since I've seen Hoffritz made one, alright? You can see that this is much more shiny than what was the other day. This was very, very grim. Wasn't very shiny at all. So we gave her a good polish, a good cleaning. So I'm kind of stuck because first off, in order to use a DeHaven, they had a proprietary blade that came with a spined back that clips over the back here. You could get polishing paste and do this to sharpen the blades back in the day. But proprietary blades, they're always a issue when we run into older razors, right? So here is this blade de-spined out of here. You would think this looks like an injector, but by the time we would put this in there as an injector, the blade actually is not wide enough for it. So, in order to de-spine that thing, simply just grabbed this, gave it a yank, came right out. All right. So you can actually modify a DE blade to fit in there, or I can use the slant. I think for today's purposes, I'm going to use the slant. I have one slant. I had two. The other one was some Bakelite one that was given to me, and I will tell you that was that was probably the most aggressive razor I have ever used. And I've used the Jaws base plate on a Game Changer. I have tried a few different things here. I haven't used a Rex Ambassador or a Mule R41, but I do have a Merkur Future, which is nothing to, it's a very hefty razor. I don't know how I feel all about the design on it. It's a pretty, it's a very sturdy razor, but I'm not necessarily a big fan of it. I do use it. I do keep it in my rotation, in quotes here. But by rotation, after Saturday's score and the razors that I kept out of that collection myself, I am up somewhere when everything is here. Somewhere in the 180 range now. So, collection took quite a big growth. It got about 35 different razors out of that collection that I ended up keeping for myself. So first impressions of this thing, it is wicked. The curvature on this compared to my other slant is wicked. And that blade gap there, between the comb and the blade itself, looking at it, man, I think, ladies and gentlemen, we're in for one heck of a ride, right? So let's go ahead, get our face wet here, get a lather built, and let's get into it, all right? Because that's what it's all about. It's first impressions. I've never used this razor. I'm not going into it as a $2 type shave razor like I did with the Dollar Tree special, so to speak. Go ahead and get my brush. That's one of the biggest things is getting your brush loaded with water and then wringing it out, okay? And then loading it. I have, for the while there, what I was doing is not preloading my brush like this. I was actually just kind of scooping a little bit of this out and putting it in my bowl. And I was getting, okay lathers. They weren't the best. I'm going with my very first brush that was given to me by my wife. It's a Body Shop brush. It's nothing special, but I'll tell you what, it's just it's a 22 millimeter synthetic wood handle. It's nothing special, it's a synthetic. But I will tell you, it's my first brush, and it's the one that I most often use when doing a shave. Alright, I am using the Club Hemingway 1898 plus 1 soap. Just kind of doing what I got laying around today, because what I'm really using that's new is this Hoffritz slant. Okay, so let's get nice and give the razor a warm. I like to warm up my razor in nice hot water first before I go. I am a hot shaver. I'm not one that uses cold. It does do different stuff. Alright. I would typically recommend, if you're going to be using a razor that you're not so sure about, first time using, and so on and so forth, is to use a soap you're familiar with. To be honest, I've only used this soap one time, so here goes to time number 2. But I think we'll be alright. I'm not one to shy away from anything, right? I had a viewer today recommend that I should shave my arms. So if any of you are curious about shaving your arms, it's not that not anyone doesn't shave your arms. It's just not a very common thing. If you're a swimmer, right, you shave your whole body to reduce your drag. Wow. Okay, so my impressions of this razor. First use. It is incredibly smooth. It has a very good blade angle. The balance is right up here just below the shank of the head. Just like most safety razors, especially 3 pieces, the balance point is usually right there. And as you can see, that's where I keep my back finger when I'm keeping it for pressure down. So, very smooth shave. No blade feel. Very, very mild razor. And this is what is so crazy about slants, right? This is my second vintage slant. My other slant that I have is a Merkur vintage slant from who knows when. I don't even know when it's dated from, because I can't seem to find anything on it other than it was new old stock when I got mine. I lent mine to a friend who was very much of the same mind as me with slants. And what that is, look at this. If that's not intimidating, I don't know what is, right? When you look at a razor and it's incredibly bent, the head of it, you're going to automatically go, nope. But I'm going to tell you what, this razor is incredibly smooth. It's a shame they don't make it anymore, because I'll tell you what, love it. To be honest with you, I'm not entirely for sure what the plating is on this razor, but the way it cleaned up after the very first dip in the ultrasonic and then came out and polished up, I was very much of the mindset that this had a type of finish sort of similar to like a sterling silver, because the tarnish on it somewhat had a greenish tarnish to it. I don't know if that's true or not. Maybe someone who will watch this will know better than me. But I mean, yeah, it has a very white type glow of a sterling silver, a white gold. It doesn't necessarily have the glow of nickel, alright? It's just, if you look at it, just the way the handle looks, it's almost a white, you know? It's like a white type plating. So not entirely for sure what that is, but I can tell you what. Look how close I did on the first pass, all right? So go ahead and get a little wet here again. And man, didn't nick myself. Oh, not yet. And just an incredible razor. I will say every time I've tried to grab one of these, I've seen them for sale. You know, they're talking $100 for these things or more. They seem either really rare, highly sought after, all the above. Because I always miss the boat when I go to get one of them. All right. So here we go, Instagram. Man, if I wasn't doing this and you weren't watching this, you wouldn't believe it. This thing has no blade feel. This is my second slant. My Merkur is the same way. It's incredibly efficient. I don't know if the modern slants from like Yaki, and I think West Coast Shaving might have one, Rockwell, or Razor Rock might have one, Rockwell. I'm not entirely for sure. I know there is some modern ones out there. But I'll tell you what, if the modern ones manage to make a razor this smooth just like this, I'd buy them. This razor is incredibly smooth. So, what's next for me, the channel, the collection, everything, right? So, what's next is keep hunting razors, but I'm now moving into the realm of, I have so many, I have all the quote unquote modern razors, not modern, I don't have hardly any modern razors to be honest with you. I got, you know, a Merkur 23C, an Edwin Jagger 316, and a couple other ones that my wife has bought me. But as far as modern goes, that's about it. But I'm now moving into the realm of hunting the super rares and the rest of the British aristocrats, so to speak, okay? Because all right, well, there we have it. There's that shave. Super, super smooth. But yeah, I don't know what it is, but personally, I'm not saying I don't like the Gillettes that came out of the USA, but the British Gillettes have a special place in my heart. They're more appealing to the eye. They provide very, very good, efficient shaves. Very smooth shave, man. That's one of the smoothest shaves I've had in a while. That is incredible. Again, I gotta cut my stupid mole as usual. Thinking about having it removed, to be honest. You know, that would make for an interesting video. I think going and getting that thing removed, alright? So, impressions of the razors. Great razor. But you know, one thing I did want to do with you guys on camera is I wanted to load the next razor that we're planning to use on the channel. And that's going to be the D-Haven. I had heard that the D-Haven for a single edge razor is right up there as a speed razor, being one of the smoothest single blade razors there are. So far, the smoothest single blade razor I could say that I have used is the Persona Floating Head 2 Injector. I have one, and it's a pretty sweet razor. Okay, so how do we load this blade that was proprietary in the spine that I ripped out of it here on the D-Haven? How do we load it with this? So the very first thing to do is to just simply leave the DE blade in its packaging, line it up, and then break it, okay? Because then the next thing we need to do is take out the DE blade out of the paper, and then you can see here that where I broke it here is slightly higher than these middle bumps. But if you take this and compare this razor to it, the back of it and the edge, we pretty much want to cut those level with these back bumps, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my pair of scissors and trim that level with the bump, line it up like that. Oh, I didn't cut. Take two. Alright, there we go. And now you can see that these are straight and level with those back bumps, and that they are, you take your spine of your, and look at that, boom. Just like that, she lines up nice and even. In your D-Haven, now you take your base plate, you lay that on there, and then you clip it down, just like that. Look at that. We are ready to roll with that razor. So this is going to be my shape tomorrow. We are going to be using the D-Haven loaded with a, this is the original spine of that thing. Not very sharp anymore, imagine that. But that's my next shave, the D-Haven. I can't wait to use this thing. Give it a little, One of the things I usually do, and this is just something you guys could try, is if you're kind of curious to how a razor is going to be as far as aggressiveness, one thing is your back of your hand's pretty flat, and the other thing is since the bones are very close to the back of your hand is very sensitive to that of your face. So you can kind of see how the razor is going to line up, and then you can give it a pass or two and see how it feels. Yes, I'm not using soap, but I don't think that's going to be as smooth as I had heard. I'm just being honest. But hey, you know what? What do I know, right? We'll find out together tomorrow. All right. Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me. I'm sorry that the conversation today was kind of a lax conversation. I've been really busy. I have my own side business. I have my full-time job as a water chemist. In between the two, I've been pulling like 55 and 60-hour weeks. That's why I haven't been here creating as much content as I wish I could. But I do appreciate you all joining me. Tomorrow, the D-Haven. We will give her a go. Just feeling it on my face because I'm just curious. It will, how it's going to be. You know, why not? First impression, heck with it. Usually don't do this, but hey, you know what? Why not? It has a very high angle of use on it. Okay, I take it back. That's pretty smooth. I take it back. Smooth razor. But okay, you know what? We'll do a shave with actual stubble tomorrow, and we will give it a C. So for a test pass, that was a... why not, right? Make a BBS. That 2-pass BBS with this slant, this Hoffritz slant, it is awesome. So one thing about these, being they were just clean, I'm going to have water down on this shank because these were literally just cleaned before I used these. So it's always best to give these. So I'm actually going to be saving this blade in the over there in my baby oil like I usually do. I'm going to give this a good rinse. And this thing actually needs to sit to dry. The rest of these are all in the same boat. All right. Whenever you clean these, especially if you follow the cleaning regimen that I gave you, please do let them set out for at least 24 hours so that your shanks can dry. Okay? Because if they don't dry properly, they could be a place of moisture abundance and a place that you could get corrosion or rust on your razors. And that's the last thing I want to do is let them dry. These need to dry, okay? And that's one thing I've often asked, well, how do you clean these in between shaves? Thing is, I don't. I just give them a good rinse and let them dry. You know? You give them a really good soapy mix, take the blade out, let it dry out for a day, and they stay good. The one I have in the razor, or in the shower that I've been using for a number of years, it was my very first DE, I haven't really gave that a proper cleaning since the day I bought it, all right? And it's because if you clean it very well with hot water after you're done using it and rinsing it out good, you don't run into any issues with having to clean it all the time, okay? So anyway, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me with this thing. I got myself a little bit here too, but you know, hey, first time using any razor, I can almost guarantee you, unless you really take your time, you're going to get cuts. And one thing, not shaving in the shower puts me at a disadvantage because I have blind shaved in the shower for a long time and not had any issues. And I have always found that when I shave outside, like in front of a mirror, kind of like this, I have issues. I don't know if it's I don't get it enough wet, I don't warm my face up enough, or what it is. But anyway, thank you for joining me, and have a good day, guys.